Remember when Sheryl Swoopes grabbed a mic and went on her "Nobody Wants to Play for Indiana" tour? She painted the Fever like they were radioactive, claiming free agents were steering clear because of locker room toxicity and internal dysfunction. Bold move. Too bad it aged like milk in the sun, because fast forward to now, Indiana just clapped back by absolutely dominating free agency. And leading the rebuttal isn't a random fan with a Fever jersey. It's Sue Bird. Yes, that's Sue Bird. But before we break down her masterclass in real talk, let's circle back and give Swoopes take the gentle roast it deserves. What do you do, peeps? Sheryl Swoopes is been missing. Sheryl Swoopes is MIA. They got a APB out for Sheryl Swoopes. If you see Sheryl Swoopes, she did a lot of talking a few months ago about the Indiana Fever, the locker room environment, how people didn't want to play there, how people wanted to leave. This wasn't some innocent hot take from a rookie podcaster. This was a Hall of Famer going full scorched earth on Indiana's reputation. Swoopes basically pulled the fire alarm and told everyone that Indiana was where talent went to disappear. She claimed the locker room was a dumpster fire, that no real star would willingly walk into that franchise, and that Caitlin Clark was stepping into basketball purgatory. Except, turns out Indiana is now the place to be. Free agents aren't running. They're sprinting to be part of the Caitlin Clark experience. And guess who sees it for what it is? Sue Bird. And when Sue speaks, the whole league leans in. I think Natasha Howard certainly stands out. I loved playing with Tasha. I really enjoyed playing with her. I think she really is she's just this glue player that doesn't get enough shine for what she does, because a lot of what she does doesn't show up in the box score, but she just is like always in the right place at the right time. And a player like that, I think complements what Indiana is building, because Sue Bird isn't in the business of handing out fluff. She's not clout chasing. This is a 4-time WNBA champ, 5-time Olympic gold medalist, and one of the sharpest minds women's basketball has ever known. Her opinions aren't takes, they're court orders. So Sue Bird is one of the greatest point guards of all time in the wnba, and she's someone who obviously is a part owner in the Seattle Storm. So hyping up another team is a bit of a conflict of interest, if we're being honest. Now let's be clear. Sue didn't jump on the Fever hype train with pom-poms. She did what any seasoned legend would do. Told people to calm down with the title favorites chants. That's classic Sue, cool, measured, reminding everyone that rings aren't won through Twitter threads or highlight reels of logo threes. They obviously through trade added Sophie Cunningham, a player that, I would say a 3-and-D type player, who has, been to the finals, so has that playoff experience. She's also just tough. She's mentally tough, she's physically tough, she brings an edge to them. And then last but not least, they added wnba, which really I think is the one that, for most people, took it to another level. So now you're like, oh, they're a contender. But if you actually listen to her, you'd realize she wasn't throwing shade. She was dropping warnings. Because underneath the level-headed tone, the message was crystal clear. Indiana is cooking something special. Not just the Caitlin Clark highlight show, though Clark's out here making defenders look like traffic cones and dropping dimes like she's allergic to turnovers. Aaliyah Boston anchoring the paint like it's her personal fortress. Kelsey Mitchell finally getting the shine she deserves after grinding through the lean years. Lexi Hull bringing the grit and glue that every contender needs. And now, veterans are circling like it's 2016 free agency all over again. This is what Sheryl Swoopes didn't see coming. Clark didn't just shift the narrative. She rewrote the entire playbook. This isn't the Indiana Fever team people used to forget existed. This is the team fans can't stop watching. Ticket sales blown through the roof. Jerseys selling faster than Angel Reese can throw a tantrum. National broadcasts. Networks are practically brawling for the rights to air Fever games. Players around the league are suddenly interested in being part of this momentum, because joining Clark means TV time, playoff buzz, and a shot at building something legendary. Sue Bird gets it. She's been that player, the one who attracts stars and sets the tone for a dynasty. She sees in Clark and this young Fever core the makings of another empire. This is how greatness starts, with a transcendent rookie, a solid foundation, and vets who want to ride the wave. There's something about the way she plays the game, her passing, her shooting, that people really identify with. So I really feel like we're poised and we're set up. for a great, successful next era of Fever basketball. So while Sue is out here calmly mapping out the Fever's rise like a general at war, Sheryl Swoopes is watching her credibility evaporate faster than her takes get disproven. The Fever aren't a cautionary tale. They're the future. And if the rest of the league doesn't wake up soon, they're going to find themselves watching Indiana lift trophies while they're stuck quoting cold takes from last season's group chats. When Sue Bird opens her mouth and says a team's about to cause problems, you don't roll your eyes. You take notes. Because Sue isn't some retired legend desperately clinging to the spotlight with spicy takes for clicks. She's a certified basketball savant, and when she drops a take, it's not opinion, it's prophecy. And her message about the Indiana Fever, clear as day. They're not knocking on the door. They've already walked in and claimed a seat at the table. Here's where Sheryl Swoopes completely whiffed it with her dusty, nobody wants to play in Indiana rant. She made it sound like Caitlin Clark wandered into a basketball wasteland. But Swoopes didn't do her homework. This wasn't some magical rebuild that fell from the sky when Clark was drafted. No, the Fever have been grinding in the shadows for years, stacking talent, taking L's, and building a foundation while most people weren't even watching. Clark was the spark, sure. But this thing was already smoldering. Yeah, I think that's kind of what everybody talked about when we were in the playoffs last year of, we really didn't have much experience at all playing in playoff games. I don't know what the exact number was, but we really lacked in that area. So just adding pieces of, players that have been in this league, they know what it takes to win. They know what it takes to get to the finals. They know what it takes to win championships. I think is exactly what we needed in our locker room. So it's just exciting, but also they're not only really good basketball players, they're really great leaders and really great people. And I know the front office obviously really prioritized that and looking for the pieces that we wanted to add. So really thankful for that as well. That's what Sue Bird sees. She's not buying into the headline hype. She's looking under the hood. Indiana didn't just throw together a squad for Instagram engagement. They constructed a real team built for basketball success. They created an ecosystem where Clark can flourish without needing to drop 35 every night just to survive. This isn't one of those sad franchises begging one rookie to be a miracle. This is a well-oiled machine, and Clark is the turbo boost. Just look at the free agency signings. It tells the whole story. The Fever used to be the WNBA's version of a rest stop. Now, they're a prime destination. Players aren't dodging Indiana like it's jury duty. They're marking it on their calendars with stars. Suddenly, playing for the Fever is a career move, not a consolation prize. Why? It's simple. National broadcasts, packed arenas, the Caitlin Clark gravitational pull. But more than that, it's the promise of winning. Players know that being on Clark's team means being seen. It means your jersey's on TV, your name's in headlines, and your highlight is getting clipped for social. Clark doesn't hog the spotlight, she widens it. And Sue Bird knows that blueprint like the back of her hand. She lived it in Seattle, first with Lauren Jackson, then later with Breanna Stewart and Jewel Lloyd. And now she sees that same recipe cooking in Indiana, only this one's heating up faster. But Sue isn't just watching the players. She's keeping tabs on the architect behind it all, Stephanie White. And White, she's not some clipboard-holding placeholder. She's been to the mountaintop. She's felt the weight of expectations and knows exactly how to mold raw talent into championship-caliber squads. She's not guessing. She's game planning. The future is so bright, and our ultimate goal is to hang another banner in the field house. And our ultimate goal is to come back in here after we win that championship and celebrate again like we did in 2012. Let's not forget White already has history with DeWanna Bonner, one of the most versatile and dangerous vets in the league. That familiarity? Huge. That trust? Already baked in. And Bonner? She's not here for nostalgic vibes or locker room morale. She's here to make people miserable on both ends of the court. At 6 feet 4 inches with a smooth jumper, a nasty post game, and the length to guard anyone from point guards to centers. Now imagine Bonner, Aaliyah Boston, and Clark on the court together. Clark's pulling defenders out to the parking lot. Boston's owning the paint like it's her living room. And Bonner, she's attacking mismatches, switching on defense, and draining corner threes like she's clocking in for work. That's not a team. That's a playoff nightmare. Bonner gives the Fever something few teams have. Lineup flexibility. She can play the 4, the 3, even the 2 in certain sets. And on defense, switch, recover, rotate. She does it all. Pair her with Boston in the front court, and you've got a defensive wall that can still score from anywhere. Late game scenarios. Indiana now has closers on both ends of the court, and let's talk mindset. Clark didn't roll into the WNBA looking to fit in and take notes. She showed up with a pen and started rewriting the playbook. She's not some overwhelmed rookie just happy to be here. She's been the center of gravity since high school. She's dropped 40 in pressure-packed games like it's an off day. She's built for the big stage, and now she's bringing that same fearless energy to a team that's finally ready to match it. The Fever aren't dreaming about playoff spots. They're setting their sights on parades. While Sheryl Swoopes is busy pushing bedtime stories about locker room toxicity, Sue Bird is watching a dynasty forming right before her eyes. And don't get it twisted. This isn't just about logo threes and highlight clips. It's about transformation. It's about how Clark changes everything around her. Take Aaliyah Boston, already a dominant force in the post, now operating with the kind of spacing only Clark can create. With defenders terrified of getting torched from 30 feet, Boston's got the paint to herself. Are you in a position where you can add some pieces? Yes, we are. We're definitely in a position, and I would think that if you are a smart basketball player and you watch the way she plays, you would want to play with her. Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull, eating two, cutting lanes wide open. Defenders too worried about Clark to remember there are other shooters on the floor. One moment you're doubling Clark, the next Mitchell's slicing to the rim, or Hull setting up in the corner with nobody in her zip code. Then there's DeWanna Bonner, still one of the WNBA's biggest matchup nightmares. She's not here for nostalgia or victory laps. She's here because she sees what Sue sees. Something real. Something championship caliber. Something that looks a lot like a dynasty in the making. Natasha Howard. Pure toughness. Defense first. Championship mentality in every step. There's going to be Caitlin Clark Flash Show, and so it's going to be phenomenal playing with a point guard, and like you said, that have a good vision and on the court, because that's like as soon as she get the ball in her hand, she's throwing it up, but she already see the person down the court before she can get the ball in her hand. So that's one thing I love about her vision on the court. I really can't wait to catch all those passes and give her all this is that she needs. Sophie Cunningham, that sharpshooter with a chip on her shoulder, the type who's diving on the floor 1 minute, then cashing a dagger 3 the next. Opponents hate her. Teammates can't get enough of her. Sydney Colson, pure vibes and locker room leadership with an added defensive tenacity. I'm super excited about it. I'm going from a team that was a very in the media, like people are excited to watch us, into another team that is arguably the most talked about team in sports right now, especially in women's sports. So this fan base is exciting to be a part of a team that has a lot of positive energy around it. Try to trap Clark and she'll thread the needle. Try to guard her straight up. Hope you like going viral for all the wrong reasons. But it's not just her skill that's got the league sweating. It's her mindset. This isn't the sad sack Fever of old begging for relevance. This is a squad that knows exactly who they are. They've got the spotlight, they've got the swagger, and they're embracing the pressure like it's game day fuel. And let's be real. Caitlin Clark doesn't just handle pressure. She thrives on it. She's been under the microscope since Iowa. Crowds booed, media poked, critics waited, and every time, she responded with daggers, dimes, and dominance. She's not ducking the target. She's drawing one in bold ink and daring people to aim for it. And, yeah, there's a narrative out there that Kathy made the call. Alright, Kathy Engelbert. Oh, we gotta make sure we get Caitlin Clark the championship, and I told you there's narrative floating. Number 1, they're freaking out. Number 2, the next thing you're about to hear is Caitlin Clark needs a super team to win a championship, so they're gonna downgrade her status, and they're gonna shit on her over that. It's already started. That's where they're going with this, folks. Sue Bird sees it. She knows that feeling. The weight of carrying a franchise on your back while still making it look effortless. Sue sees a reflection of her former self in Clark, but she also sees something brand new, because Caitlin isn't the next anyone. Not Sue, not Taurasi, not even close. She's the first and only Caitlin Elizabeth Clark, and the league better learn that name quick. Now, about those haters, because they're flailing. Sheryl Swoopes, still clinging to that no one wants to play in Indiana myth while free agents are basically camping outside Fever HQ waiting for a contract. A'ja Wilson, you can feel the anxiety in every cryptic post. She used to own the spotlight, but now she's watching Clark rack up headlines, fans, and the kind of numbers that don't lie. And no, A'ja, liking shady tweets doesn't change the scoreboard. Angel Reese, still trapped in a rivalry Clark walked away from months ago. She's talking like it's 2023, while Caitlin's out here shattering viewership records and getting her jersey retired in front of more people than Reese's last 3 games combined. The Fever aren't satisfied with just being good. They're gunning for greatness. Clark didn't come to Indiana to try her best. She came to stack trophies, MVPs, championships, legacy. This team wants to be the next dynasty, and based on what we've seen, they're not just talking, they're building it. So for everyone still doubting, still nitpicking, still clinging to old narratives, Sue Bird sees you. And she's here to let you know, you're wrong. This isn't a phase. This isn't hype. This is the future of the WNBA unfolding before your eyes. The Indiana Fever have arrived. Caitlin Clark's behind the wheel. And the haters, they're getting lapped.